we good?
It's Frank Umbrino, U-M-B-R-I-N-O. So a little after 4 o'clock this morning, a call came in for a domestic dispute at an address here on Hancock Street. Shortly after the initial call for a domestic, another call came into 911 reporting that there was a structure fire. As RFD and RPD arrived on scene, they did encounter a house that was fully engulfed in a fire. Firefighters entered. They received information that there was possibly a person trapped on the 3rd floor of the building. I believe there's about 8 or 9 apartments within the building. As firefighters were attempting to make their way up to the 3rd floor, one firefighter did sustain some burns and was treated at the hospital. He is going to be okay, and he has since been released. Unfortunately, they were not able to get up to the 3rd floor due to the heavy amount of flames and smoke. After the fire was under control, we did locate one female believed to be in her 70s in an apartment on the 3rd floor, and she was obviously dead from her injuries. So at this point, the Major Crimes Unit, along with the Arson Task Force, are conducting the investigation. We are in the process of determining what connection the initial domestic call had to the building ultimately catching on fire. There are no suspects in custody at this time. We are conducting interviews to see exactly what happened this morning and what the connection between the arson and the domestic dispute was.
Now, the domestic, between the two people, they obviously lived there. Did they make it out, or were they one of the people that were involved in the domestic dispute?
No, the victim had no connection to the domestic dispute. She was up on the 3rd floor, and the domestic dispute happened somewhere else in the building in a different apartment. So she was just she had nothing to do with the initial domestic.
So just to confirm, you guys only found one deceased?
Correct. There's only one person deceased. Everybody else was able to self-evacuate prior to the fire department getting on scene. We're working now with the Red Cross and other agencies to work on housing for them. There were 2 other individuals that were in the apartment that suffered some smoke inhalation. They were also treated at the hospital and since been released. None of their injuries are serious. And again, the firefighter did sustain burns, but he will be okay.
So the 2 people that may have caused this domestic dispute, neither of them have been arrested, but are you currently questioning them, or how does the investigation go from here?
Yep, again, I know it's only been a couple hours, it's still early. We are conducting interviews at this time for everybody that was in the building, including the individual involved in a domestic dispute. You know, as of right now, there are no suspects in custody. Nobody's been charged with anything. We got to gather all the facts. So we're going to need some time. I'm hoping maybe to have some more information maybe later on tonight, but it's going to be a little bit before we get through all the interviews and sort through the evidence. I mean, the structure is going to be a total loss. That'll be coming down hopefully today. So maybe later on today I might be able to get you a little bit more.
Were there any kids involved?
I don't have the ages of all the people that were in the building. I don't believe there were any children, but we'll find out for sure later on. I believe everybody inside was adults. I know the 2 people that were injured were adults.
Right. Normally, the fire department would tell us this information. Obviously, you're here because it could be suspicious. I mean, what's the RPD's involvement in this right now? What could we call this?
But it's we don't know yet, right? It's an undetermined fire at this point in time, and we have the Rochester Fire Department, the Rochester Police Department. We have the Arson Task Force, which there's members of both the Fire Department and the Police Department that conduct all investigations into fires that are either arson or unknown causes. And, you know, it's no different than any other suspicious death, if you will. Until we know for sure what it is, we're going to treat it, you know, as a crime scene and go from there. But we always work together on these types of investigations.
Did officers show up before or after the fire started, and did you guys have to help when it came to rescues at all? Like, what was the order of
officers
events?
were not on scene yet, and they were not involved in the fire rescue efforts.
How much longer do you guys plan to be out here today?
The building is a total loss, and they're working on some demolition right now, so the roads will be blocked down, I'm going to say, probably for the majority of the afternoon, if not longer. Beyond that, I can't tell you. All right, we good?
Appreciate it, Captain.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.